Welcome back, FaerieQuesters. I am going to share with you a project bonsai that I'm working on for the fairies. Actually, two of them. We found these at Earl May for $5 a piece, $4.99, and they are Sea Green Junipers. I did one yesterday, so I'm sharing with you today. So we're starting at the base of this little juniper tree, and we're going to clean out all of the little pieces, dried pieces, and even the new green growth so that we can start to see what this little trunk looks like and what we are going to keep and what we're not going to keep. Now, these might look like little soft, sweet little pieces here, but boy, they can really hurt on the fingers, let me tell you. They stick. They're like needles. And yes, they are needles. But as you can see, I'm starting to clear some off, and I have my tray here to keep track of what I am doing. So we're taking off most of the small ones, but there will be larger ones that we will be taking off as well. So I'm going to do this and get back to you as I've gotten a little bit further. So here we can actually see the lower portion of the trunk, and it is amazing how many trunk pieces that there actually are to this sea green juniper. And I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And obviously we won't be able to keep all of them. This one here is going to probably have to go, but it can be replanted on its own. It's just too off kilter for a bonsai, fairy bonsai like this. So also this one here will probably have to go. Decisions. So I'm going to stand back and take a look at it from different angles, and that will help me decide what might be best for this particular fairy bonsai. So here I'm showing you that I actually did a brave thing. I kept this one for now until we transplant, but I did take off 2 branches here that were going to be in the way of what I would like the vision of this fairy bonsai to be. So this project bonsai is a lot more in depth than expected. So I wanted to show you from what we began with how much open space there is now on this little soon to be bonsai. It may not follow all the bonsai rules because I am still learning those things, but it is opening up new space, as you can see. Okay, it's time to pull it out of the pot so we can get a look at the roots and see exactly how root bound it may be. Looks pretty good, actually. So I'm going to take my fork here and start combing out the roots. I won't make you watch this whole process, but I discovered it would be a lot quicker. Apparently going from the bottom of this particular one, the dirt was a lot more loose. So this is how I proceeded. This is what we came down to after removing all of the dirt from the roots. It actually has some pretty nice roots that I would like to be able to get to stick up out of the pot, but we need a bit of growing here yet. And there are also some pretty long ones that were attached to this sea green juniper. So now we are going to clip off that one branch that I told you previously probably needed to go, but I wanted to be able to see the roots and see how it was attached. So now this one I will go ahead and replant, and I'll show you that later on in the video. because it can turn into a perfectly good sea green juniper, which again can turn into another bonsai project for the fairies. This is the pot that I've chosen to put this sea green juniper bonsai in. Plenty of holes. They do not like to have mushy roots, so we have to have really good drainage. And here's the mesh piece that I put into the bottom so everything doesn't fall out of there. It makes it so much easier to fill up the pot this way. And adding the rock to help with drainage in the bottom. One more scoop. There we go. And now we need to take a look at the roots and see which ones that we can actually trim off, because we don't want this huge mound in the bonsai pot. Right now we're going to be using a training pot, so we're just going to clip off some of these really long roots and try to make it a little more compact so that we can spread the roots out when we replant. So looks like we're probably taking off quite a bit, but there's a lot of growth here, so it will be just fine. It has that one really long root that goes all the way around it here. Kind of cool. So I think that's probably pretty good for the trimming process. So all we have to do now is get the soil taken care of and get it planted in. Look at that root. Isn't that awesome? So here's the soil mixture that I'm using to avoid waterlogging. We have cactus and succulent soil mix, and we have natural and organic container mix or regular plant soil. And we also have perlite, which will help with the aeration within the soil. And I've just mixed it all up in a bowl together. So this mixture should work really well for these roots. So now I've filled the pot and I'm trying to figure out which way I would like the tree to go in. And I think I've found it. I don't really necessarily have a front per se because I'm putting it in the center of the pot. We can figure out the front later. But I think I like this, and it allows the roots to spread. So here we are, we're all planted. I didn't want to make you sit through all of the process of filling it up and planting it, but here it is. We've added a little bit of rock there to hold it in place. Now there's one more area we have to clip off some of the tips. Right now, this plant is using up a lot of energy trying to grow those long branches. So some of that has to go, and just to take some of the weight off of this newly planted bonsai for the fairies. And so we're going to go through and do all of these and give it a lighter load. This will also allow some of that energy to go towards thickening the trunk. So I'm going to go through and do this. I'm not going to make you watch the whole process, but this is what we have done, and we're nearly finished here with this bonsai. So there it is, looking a little lighter. It's had a haircut, been transplanted, and looks lovely. Here are the pieces also that we can transplant, and here is Sammy. He's just watching. And over here I have filmed the other sea green bonsai plant, juniper, and I'm going to grab the pot, one of them that I transplanted some of yesterday's juniper in, the pieces that I'm hoping will root. They should. So this is what I'm going to do, use this pot and that pot to make more juniper trees, and this is how it is done. So I'm just going to take a piece, one of the longer ones, and scrape off so that perhaps when the roots begin growing they can push out a little easier from the bottom of this juniper piece. And then we're going to turn it around and do what we did on the actual juniper bonsai repotted. We're going to cut off some of these branches because they are far too heavy, and we want the energy to go toward growing the roots and thickening the trunk, not using up all of its energy to try and maintain those really long branches. We could probably even cut them shorter, but I'm leaving them about this long, and we'll see, you know, how it actually works and how well. Again, this is kind of a new thing for me, so I'm learning as I go, and hope you're learning along with me. So now I'm going to just put it into the soil and pat it down a bit so it stays put, and I'm going to do the rest of them, but I'm not going to make you watch me do them all. So that's how I'm going to do all of the rest. So here they are. We have about 8 extra junipers that we will hopefully have roots take out of 2 juniper trees. So now it's watering time. So the next video concerning these juniper bonsais for the fairies will be about wiring. So please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And thanks for stopping by. Take care.